Blagojevich says the governor will not be resigning tomorrow. In fact, just moments ago then on Meet the Press, the state attorney general saying that she has heard there is a possibility that the governor may make an announcement tomorrow where he will step aside. Also today, Governor Blagojevich has met with high-profile Chicago defense attorney Ed Gensen. The embattled Democrat's future remains uncertain after he was arrested on Tuesday, accused of trying to sell Barack Obama's Senate seat. Joining me live here in studio is Joanna Greenwald, a former prosecutor who is now a defense attorney, and with a good morning to you.
Good morning.
If you were a fly on the wall in that 4-hour meeting between the governor and a high-powered criminal defense attorney in Chicago, what do you think you would have heard?
What I would have heard said, let them take their best shot. I don't think they have anything right now. That's what I would have said if I was the defense attorney right now.
Tapes aren't anything?
They don't have enough on the tapes right now. As far as what we know, they've got GOTS. They don't have a whole lot. What they have them saying is that it's a pay-for-play situation, meaning that, oh, government, this seat is expensive. Mm-hmm. He didn't solicit. He didn't ask for anything. We don't have anything that he got anything in return.
You mean anything in specific detail? Because he's saying, I want this. This is worth a lot of money. Things like that. That's not gotcha information?
No. I could say to you, you know what? I love that bag. That bag is a great bag. I'd really like that bag. You know how much I want that bag. But it doesn't say that. I definitively, they're reading in between the lines. In the 72-page affidavit that they have going along with this, they even admit that they don't have enough yet at this time for an indictment. So they're going to be working. They have 30 days to bring the indictment, although they can get an adjournment, to keep trying to get more. So if I was the defense attorney, unless the other side, the Attorney General's office, and who is a worthy opponent, Mr. Fitzgerald, is well known.
I was going to ask you about that.
Yes. Taking down, Scooter Libby. He's well known, so he's well known to be a tough one. Yeah. So unless they're having private talks to say, listen, this is what we've released, but let me tell you, I've got a room full of taps. Then, as a defense attorney, I'd say, let's start talking a little bit on what do you think you might have said on the phone.
Okay, so a defense attorney may say the kind of advice you're saying, go ahead and you just say, bring it on, and we're just going to keep doing business as usual. But the question is, can there be business as usual done when you have the leader, politically elected leader of a state who, by most accounts, is going to be seen as being ineffective? Well, this is a man who has a 7% approval rating right now.
The lowest.
The lowest. So should he step down? I mean, notwithstanding the legal drama that we have here, should he step down? And then might that make a better case for him in terms of defense?
You could almost analogize this almost to a McGreevy situation where his personal drama took over so much in his life that he stepped down. Did he necessarily need to step down? No. Was there a tinge of that something illegal might have happened? Yes. But I don't think that he necessarily is going to have to stop. He's out right now on $4,500 bond. This doesn't necessarily stop him from doing his job. So I don't think he necessarily has to stop. There
is speculation that staying in job gives him bargaining power. As a defense attorney advising him, what would you say? What can you bargain with at this point?
Well, here's the thing, is that especially what you're saying, the bargaining power, he actually has the power is actually given to him to appoint, to look for who will be the new senator in the position. So here's where we have that fine line. He's looking a little shady, a little tainted, and he's the one picking. That's why they're all looking for him to step down. Forget about all the other things that we're looking for, that his choice might be laden with having done something so wrong politically that any choice would have a tinge of something negative.
Tainted, right.
Absolutely.
Okay, Joanna Greenwald, we'll talk with you again this morning. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And we are following this breaking news out of Baghdad. That's to at least hear our side of the story. And the Illinois Supreme Court could act on the Attorney General's request sometime this week. Joining me here in the studio is Joanna Greenwald, a former prosecutor who's now a defense attorney. Hello. So as we talk about Governor Blagojevich, he met with high-profile Chicago defense attorney Ed Gensen yesterday. What do you think went on during that 4-hour meeting?
I think that there were actually several things they discussed. I think they discussed a potential plea agreement, even though right now we don't know that there's any information that they have aside from some things on wiretaps. which really aren't that implicate him doing anything necessarily illegal, meaning that they charge him with solicitation, but there was no quid pro quo of, if you do this for me, then I'll do this for you. They don't have anything about conspiracy where you have an agreement with him, with someone else, and any overt acts. What I do think that they discussed were two things. One, that he will say, I will resign, I will step down if you give me a good plea deal. And just as we just saw just a few minutes ago, that we don't want Chicago paralyzed and not have its governor or have anybody running that state with Illinois and dealing with anything like that, then he'll say, listen, you give me a good plea deal, I'll step down. The other thing they're talking about, which I think is super important, is he's going to say, leave my wife alone, because she's someone who's been investigated for corruption and a great deal.
But Joanna, under those circumstances, talking about the wife, as we see Patty right there, this is a woman who certainly, if she were to turn evidence against her husband because she's his wife, she wouldn't necessarily have to do that. But in this case, she has her own separate issues because she is being accused as well, to some degree, of complicity, right, in these corruption charges.
That's exactly it. They're looking at her. So when you're looking at Patrick Fitzgerald, who's in charge of this case, he's famous for going after family members and saying, I'll leave your son alone, I'll leave so-and-so alone if you plea out. So I truly believe that when he spoke with Jensen, that they were talking about that if you give, I'll take the fall, I'll leave quietly, I won't have Chicago have to pay lots of money, cause embarrassment to Chicago. I'll step down quietly. You leave my wife alone, and I won't embarrass the city anymore.
Yeah, maybe he's hoping that she'll leave him alone, not swear at him the way she does on all those tapes.
We'll see what happens there.
Yeah, okay. Joanna Greenwald, thank you so much.
Thank you.
The center part of the country is dealing with a blizzard.